Good morning, everyone. How are you all today? Hi, it's been a while. If you don't remember who I am or you don't know who I am, my name is Elise. I'm the owner and the artist behind the Painted Brush & Co. We used to do lives quite regularly with little tutorials and all that sort of thing. So we paint furniture, we refinish furniture. I apologise, I've got my Kelpie here who's in here because the yard's not 100% secure, so he's sort of wandering around. That's what you can hear. But we used to do lives all the time, and then life just got in the way a little bit, and I haven't been able to do one in like 4 months. I feel like it's been a really long time now, which is unusual for me. I used to try and do it a few times a week, but I'm in here really early this morning. I've got a lady coming to pick up her bedside tables that I refinished for her the other day. And I thought, you know what? Let's come in a little bit early while I can get away from the kids just for a little bit and finish off a couple of pieces. So I've got this this piece down here. Where are we? This in the background that's almost done. I'm going to try and get that done today as well. And then I've got this beautiful little table, and this one I stripped and I primed it and fixed it. It was like falling apart like 6 months ago, and then it just got pushed to the side because other things were happening, and I had a few commissions come in and it just wasn't touched again. So this is the piece. There's its legs. Let me stand it up so you can see what we're working with without spilling my drink for the second time today, because I'm doing really well so far. So this is our piece. So we're in our new studio today. If you didn't know, we're still in the same location, just in a new shed, in a bigger space that's just mine. My husband, for the most part, isn't coming in here at all. We are going to be running our annual, it's going to be more often than that, but our big sale here as well. My husband runs Bendigo E-Waste, which is an electronic waste recycling facility. So we're going to be running our annual sale in this space because it's set up as a retail space. But other than that, he's not coming in here. He's not allowed in. If you are familiar with our old studio, originally it was just me, and it was for the first few months, but we didn't know how big E-Waste would get and how fast we'd get and how fast we would be absolutely inundated. So it sort of just kept creeping in, and I went from having all that space to myself to having very little. So I got to move into this space. This used to be a cabinet maker in this shed, which is really exciting. So I moved in here about a month ago, and it's all mine. You can let me flip the camera. Okay, so this is our huge space. So we've got all of our, where are we? This is all our paints. We've got our decoupage papers, our stencils, and our wallpapers. We've got furniture. There's a barbecue in here at the moment, and there'll be a few pallets and shelving shoved over that side, just with the stuff preparing for our sale. But this is our space. And then we turn around, we've got our staging wall, those bedside tables just here. These are being picked up this morning. And then the cabinet maker left all these drawers behind. So they're all mine. They're full of all my goodies. And then he left this huge table behind, which we're using. And this is my workshop table. And then over there, that's my uppy downy table. It used to be like a hospital bed. So I've got that. And then in this door here, I've got an office. I've got a storeroom and toilet and a proper like laundry trough sink, which if you're familiar with my old space, that is a massive improvement, because my old sink was like barely big enough for a hand. So it's fantastic. No hot water sadly, but you know, we'll get there. Can't have everything at once. So this is the table that we're working on anyway. It's really, really cute. I have painted it with Pureco silk finish, bit of fluff. Pureco silk finish in the colour Vineyard, which is this beautiful green. I would have loved to do this table in chalk finish because it's quite a rustic piece and I'd love that look, but I don't have chalk finish in Vineyard. And I had this tub open, and right now I'm still in the process of just trying to use up what I've got open already. And when I moved, and I've been like working on that the last couple of years, because at some point I had like 50 tubs of paint open, which is ridiculous. And the last 2 years I've been trying to work through that. But when I moved, I discovered a whole box that I'd completely forgotten about of paint from when we moved from my shop, which was in Eaglehawk like a year ago. Yeah, it was only last year, Jesus. Back at the start of last year, was it? It was like April. Anyway, so I discovered a whole box. So I'm still in the process of using up paints that I've got open. So this is Vineyard in Silk Finish. Silk Finish is the all-in-one mineral paint from Pureco. It's got a built-in top coat, so I don't have to seal it. It's got like a satin finish. It's not quite, I wouldn't call it a true satin. It's not super, you're right. It's not super, if it's not children, it's dogs. It's not super shiny, but it's not matte either. So it's sort of in the middle. 7 to 10 day cure time. Once it is cured, it's quite tough and hardy, and it does really well, even with kids and whatnot. It's quite a good paint in terms of its hardiness. If you do want more durability, you can top coat it. Pureco's polyurethanes come in a matte, satin, and a gloss. They are exterior grade, and they are water-based as well. All the products are water-based except for obviously the hemp finishing oil, which we might even, I need to oil, where are we? Oil the top of it. So we might even do that today as well. I can show you that. It's been so long since I'm showing you anything, so there's no real new products. I think we've had a new color launch in the meantime. There's like 5 new colors, but that's sort of it. We haven't had any other new products to show you. So I've sort of gotten away with not doing a regular live. But if you do want to go back and watch any of our old content, it's all up on YouTube. I know Facebook's gone through and like wiped most of our old lives. They did like a big cleanup. And a lot of people, like, we lost a lot of content. So if we haven't downloaded it, it's gone. But I was really good there for a while, and I was downloading all my lives and putting them on YouTube. So they are all still there for you to see. Anyway, so Silk Finish. And then I put over it yesterday because I didn't like how clean it was looking. I wanted a little bit more of that sort of rustic finish. I've put Pureco Stain and Glaze in the colour, hey, you all right? In the colour Sable, which is a dark chocolate brown. So I've used that as a glaze, and I've also used it as the stain. So the top and the feet are as a stain. Over the paint is the glaze. I sort of came back last night because I had to come back for a bit and do a quick little, sorry, that's really, there's a big mark on the camera, that's probably better. So yeah, I came back last night. I didn't do a video, and I probably should have, but I've used it as a glaze. Literally wiped it on, wiped it back off. I accidentally wiped up here a little bit too hard and took some of my paint off. When you wipe fresh paint with a wet cloth too hard, it does take the paint off, as I discovered. So I've just touched that up, but you can sort of see, and when I take photos of the piece, have a good look at those, because you'll be able to really see the stain. But you can sort of see it settle down in there. Stain and Glaze has also got a built-in top coat, so a little bit of extra protection. I've roughed it up just a touch as well, just to sort of get that aged look happening to it. So this morning, and I wasn't going to, but I was trying to find something else, and I found an offcut of this wallpaper. And I think, yes, I do have enough. I hadn't actually looked before I started this live. This is one of our wallpapers. I think I can see it in stock. So we've still got it in stock. I don't know what it's called, but it will be on the website. Keep your offcuts. Even your little smaller pieces, because even though this looks like ridiculous and you're not going to use it for much, that would be perfect for a small drawer front, right? And you never know, sometimes you just need like a really little bit. And if you've got an offcut and say that this wasn't quite big enough, sometimes you can get away with just cutting like a little thin strip and filling in a spot. Maybe if you put it like right at the back of the drawer. And I've done that before, it looks fine. But keep your offcuts. I wouldn't keep like your little scraps, but this sort of size, keep them, use them. You pay good money for them, you might as well use them. So anyway, I've got this paper. It's not quite the right green, but I feel like it sort of complements the piece quite well as well. So we've got that. We've got the little tiny drawer. Oh, you can sort of see the glaze better on this one. A little bit. We've got the original handle. And then this is our drawer at the moment. So it's fine. And it's like, this I would consider fine, right? This I would quite happily put back in a piece and it would be okay. Obviously, I'd give it a clean. If it was worse than this, or if this was like a lot worse, then I would absolutely put a paper in it just to make it look nicer. But in this case, I'm doing it simply because I just want to add that little bit of extra detail on an otherwise kind of small, simple piece. Little bit of detail goes a long way, right? So I'm going to move you over here and tilt you down. That work for us? So to line your drawers, obviously you need your paper. Make sure you sort of work out where you want it. Line it up right first. This paper has a very clear direction. It's got animals on it, so I don't want to go in and put it sideways because it will look a bit weird. In saying that, I have done that before. I've done a whole piece with it before, and it was atrocious when I realised. I obviously scissors to cut down your paper. I do like to have a good Stanley knife of some description, or a craft knife. It does make it that little bit easier at the end. A paintbrush, I haven't washed it. It's got paint on it, but it's fine for what we're doing. And then some sort of glue. I do like Gorilla Glue. It's a wood glue, but it's fine for this. Because it's quite thick, I am going to thin it out just a little bit with some water, but you can use whatever glue you like. Any sort of water-based PVA glue is fine. So before we glue, you're going to grab your paper and you're going to lay it down in your drawer, roughly. Cut it down a bit smaller. Don't use like your whole roll if you can. Yeah, it's up to you. You can either flip it over. Yeah, let me show you that. That's the easiest way to do it. And it is, for those of you who are nervous about using your paper, it is sort of the way that I recommend you do it. You flip your drawer over. Let me work out where my pattern is first, which bit I want. I really wanted, I think I want the squirrel. Squirrel? It's such a weird word. Oops, come on. It's been rolled up for a while, this one. Yeah, so I really want this squirrel, so I'm going to put my drawer over that side of the paper, which I know is this corner. So lay it down on your table, grab your drawer, flip it upside down. You can sit there and measure it to your heart's content if you like, but honestly, this is the easiest way to do this. Everyone does it differently, but for those of you who are a bit nervous about using a paper, this is the easier way. Now, you can either, and I would if I had a pencil, but I don't know where that's gone. You can either draw around it and cut it out with scissors, or grab your knife. Make sure whatever's underneath it, doesn't matter if it gets hurt. Obviously, this table's got 1,000 holes in it. It's not going to matter if I scratch it. And I'm literally going to run that knife, poke my blade out a bit more, run that knife along the edge of my drawer, just like I would a pencil, right? Right. Just holding my drawer down so I don't bump it. It doesn't have to be a perfect cut. Like that was atrocious. I don't know what that was, but that's all right. Like so. I'm just going to be a bit cautious of my paint here though. I don't want to like gouge into my paint, so just be careful with that. It's the last thing we need. And this pretty much just guarantees that the piece of paper that you cut will be pretty close to the exact size of the drawer that you need, right? So, we've got our drawer, we've got our paper, and now if I turn my paper around, it will be, see how it fits just nicely, right? So it's the size of my drawer. It's not going to be any smaller than my drawer. It's the easiest way to do it. Whereas if you were measuring with a tape measure or a ruler and then doing it, there's every chance that you could still get that wrong, right? So measure twice, cut once if you are doing it. But this way, it just makes it a little bit easier. And we're going to squish it in there. I like to sort of just squish it in. You've got a bit of play with your wallpaper, so don't stress too much. It takes a lot to really bend them out of shape. So you can be a little bit rough with them. So I'm going to do that, and then I just sort of squish it in there. And I sort of use 2 of the sides as much as I can. So that one and this one, I've got, can you see how I've got those 2 lined up? But then these other 2, I've got all this overhang here, right? And then what I like to do is I grab scissors. It's a bit easy. Sorry, I knocked the mic. I'm just going to do just a little slice to begin with, about 1 inch, just to help that paper fold down into the drawer. And this is your dry fit test, right? So you do this first before you glue to make sure that your paper's the right size. And it takes a second, right? It's a little bit fiddly, but you just get it in there. And then what I can do now, I can see where I need to cut to. I'm just going to very carefully cut to the bottom of that line, sort of roughly where my corner is. All right, like so. And then you can either fold it over just gently with just a really gentle crease. See, you've got a rough idea of where your paper's going to fit. Or you can cut it straight away. I like to sort of just crease it and then cut it once it's glued in, but it's up to you which way you want to go with it, right? I'm going to do the same along the top here. I'm going to take my brush, just because I'm having trouble getting my fingers in there. Take the very end of my brush and do that. So now I've got the size of my drawer, roughly, right? So what I do like to do is just cut a little bit of that excess off. So I'm not cutting along that line, I'm cutting about 1 centimetre above it, because it will just help my fit, right? Because it's a little less paper that I'm then trying to play and argue with. Okay, so ready to go. If you need to, stick it back in there, check it again. I'm pretty confident, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with where it's sitting. Beautiful, right, happy. Take that out, pop that aside for a second. Grab your glue. The heads of these glue bottles, for some reason, never work. And we're just gonna pop, this is like nearly a full bottle actually. I like a decent amount of glue. If you don't want to make it permanent, you can use a double-sided tape. I think we've actually still got some in stock as well. We had some at one point. That was brilliant for it. I just spray my water straight down onto it. Remembering my paint's got green, my brush has still got green paint on it too. That's what the green is. It's fine, it's not going to impact my glue. And then a nice even layer of glue all the way around. Make sure you get plenty into those corners and along those edges. Glue dries clear, so don't stress. Mine probably won't dry completely clear because it's now got paint mixed with it, but glue does, or should, if you've got the right kind, it dries clear. So don't stress too much if you get it some up on the edges and on the corners, etc., right? You just want to spread it out really, really evenly. I don't know where I got this brush from, but I really like it. All right, so just spread it around. Like so. And make sure you do get it along those edges. Now you do want a nice even layer all over. It will also help stop any like bubbles and that sort of thing. If you do have ink stains, you might find that when you are putting your glue on, they will run a little bit. Generally, I've never had them come through paper, but they might. So just be aware of that too. More of a textured paper, not a textured, more of a pattern paper or a dark paper like this, even if it did come through just a little bit, just from being wet, it's not really a major concern. Right, so we're fully glued right up to all the edges and the corners. Grabbing our paper. If you need to, write on the back of your paper which bits like the back and which bits the front, which bits left and right, right? Just to make it easier for you to remember where it's positioning. And when I'm doing multiple drawers, I always do one drawer at once. That way, I don't accidentally put the wrong paper in the wrong drawer. just because drawers are just never quite 100% exactly the same. I've found from experience they might be just a mil or two off, but sometimes it's just enough where your paper just doesn't line up. So I've got my paper, I know where I'm putting it, and now we're just very gently going to slide it down into there. And because we've got a nice layer of glue in there too, we're going to be able to slide it around just a little bit as we need to get it where we need it. And just use your hand. You can use I don't know if I've got one here to show you. I had one earlier. Yes, I do. You can use like a plastic or a felt covered thingamabob if you want to. These are from, this is a Mint by Michelle one. They're used for decoupage papers. If you feel like your hands just aren't doing it, you can do it this way, but it's completely up to you. Just like that, and really push it along, and it does come in handy for getting this edge. And it's up to you if you cut that edge off now or if you cut it off once your paper's dry. Completely up to you. Just be aware that if you do cut it now, it may tear a little bit, just because it might be a little bit wet from your glue. So I'm just pushing it nice and firmly. Here's our paper. Bubble free. It's in nice and evenly. It's almost bubble free. I spoke too soon then. I can even see that bubble. So if you just push from the inside out, and you will find any crinkles, bubbles, same with your decoupage papers. As it starts to dry, that glue tightens and a lot of it will go away anyway. If your drawer base is a bit rough, as in like the timber's rough, sometimes drawer bases are made out of really, really cheap timber. It can be quite rough. As you're going, just be aware that if you are using a scraper, if it catches it, it can also rip your paper. If you've got, mine's got a couple little bits where it's just not quite as smooth as what we want it to be. But we're in there, right? So now we've just got the bit of excess paper there, and where's the other bit? And at the front. All right, so you can cut it off now or you can do it later. I'm quite comfortable doing it now. If you aren't super confident, wait for it to dry. It's a little bit easier when it's dry. Again, just use your knife. I like to have my blade out a fair way. It just makes it that little bit easier. And you can use that to protect yourself, right? Not to protect yourself, to protect the rest of your paper. So you sort of just sit it in there on the corner. Can you see what I'm doing? It's all right, Pickle. It's not us. Right, there's cars coming and going out there. They're probably dropping off e-waste. All right, so got my scraper, got my knife on top of it, and I'm just using my scraper. You can use like a credit card or something too. Probably not your credit card, maybe like a cheap throwaway card that you don't care about, just in case your knife slips. But just use it as like a bit of a guide. You can even use like a tape measure. I'm gonna have to turn this for 2 seconds because I am right-handed, and I am gonna do this last little corner freehand. And then I don't know what time. Oh no, it's only 9:10. No, it's not for me. So just really carefully. Sometimes your corners can catch or you haven't quite cut them, so don't just rip, right? Because then you could tear your paper as well. Pickle, it's all right, darling. Not for us. It's okay, baby. It's all right. I know. You're fine, darling. It's all right. It's a concrete yard. I know, it's a lot of noise. Hop down. Good boy, you're fine. Just like that. And again, being careful, don't rip it in the corner. Don't pull too hard just because you think you've cut it all. Because I can pretty much guarantee you never quite get it all. Hey! If you need to, use your nail to sort of support it a little bit too. Just so that you don't accidentally rip the wrong bit. Okay, so we've got one clean edge. That's our bit of paper removed. Thank you, Stacey. Good morning, Julie. Okay, so the other side, so we'll do the same again. I'm right-handed is my problem. Hang on. I want to show you what I'm doing, but... Is that okay? There we go. Tip you down a bit more. Right. So again, use your scraper. You can do it freehand. Shh, Pickle. Hey, come on. Just going really, really gently. Hey, stop squeaking. We've got two kelpies. This one squeaks. The other one just barks. But this one, he doesn't really bark. He just squeaks. It's all right, darling. Very gently. So you can see I've sort of peeled the top layer of the paper off. So I'm just very gently. The glue's just started to dry, and that's why that's done that. It's not stuck to the hang on. It's not stuck to the paper, like I've cut it. It's stuck to the glue. There's always something it's stuck to. There we go. I'll just clean that little bit off there. There we go. And then I'll let that dry, and then I can grab that rest of that last little bit because it just doesn't quite want to come out for me. So you can see this side. So it's just that little bit rough. I can clean that up once it's dry. You can just take a really fine bit of sandpaper and that will all come out. It's just because that glue started to dry that it's not going to behave for me. Well, actually, I can just scrape it with my nail now. But just run a really fine piece of sandpaper along there and that will come off and it will look nice and clean. So there's our drawer. So she's looking pretty. Now we'll pop it back up here. There she is. Looking gorgeous. So she's done. I've got a hemp oil at the top. Would you like to join me in doing that too? Let me turn you again. Let's do it together. Let me take the drawer out so I don't drop the drawer after all that effort. I'll hemp oil the legs too, but we'll just do the top for the moment. Beep beep. Say beep beep. Watch out. Oh, it's actually a really heavy table. We had lunch in here yesterday, so all the chairs are in here. They're all in the road. And the kids have claimed this huge box, so they've been playing with that. Okay, so here's the top of our table. So this has been finished with Pureco stain and glaze in the colour Sable, which is a dark chocolate brown. So it's looking really, really nice. I just used my, where's my hemp oil? I just used my sponge applicator and my spray bottle so it didn't go on too thick. I didn't want it really, really dark. Oh, it's right there in front of me. I didn't want it too dark, right? So I've done that. And now I'm going to hemp oil it. So I keep my hemp oil in a bag to keep it all together. You want some sort of cloth to buff off the excess. I like microfibers. Use whatever you want. It just needs to be a lint-free cloth. Okay, we've got our hemp oil and then we've got our sanding paper. And I reuse this until it's no good to be used anymore, right? So we've got our hemp oil. Obviously, I've used most of mine. Comes in a 500ml bottle or a 125ml. For most of you who are just doing the occasional project, a 125ml bottle is absolutely fine. For those of you who are doing a lot like me, I would recommend this. When I'm doing a lot of projects and I'm, hey, Pickle. When I'm doing a lot of projects and I'm sort of churning pieces out that little bit more, I do go through what do I go through? Maybe a bottle every 5-6 months. I definitely go through it a little bit more, right? So there's a little flick of paint just there. There you go. Yeah, so I go through a 500ml bottle about every 6 months when I'm doing like a couple of projects a month. And I typically have at least one piece of timber on every single project, right? I do like my timber and paint combination. I really like it. I love timber, and if I had the energy, majority of my pieces would be kept all timber. I don't quite have that energy these days, but I do really, really like keeping as much timber as I can, particularly the tops of pieces, simply because they wear so much better than Pickle. It's okay, darling. The concrete yard's like fully going in there, and of course we're now closest, so you're probably hearing it. Hey, you're probably hearing it too. It's not a horn for you, darling. They're beeping each other, not you. It's okay. You've got cobwebs on your nose. I do like to keep timber tops. They wear better than paint long term. They're also really easy to refinish if you ever need to. That's just my personal preference. And anybody that comes to me wanting a piece painted, I generally do encourage them to have a timber top over a painted top. Paint can be marked really easily. On the tops of pieces, you sit a hot coffee mug on it too many times, or let water sit on it too long, eventually you're going to damage your paint. Whereas a timber top, yes, it may damage, but it's generally a lot easier to fix too. Whereas paint, you've generally got to take it all off, and it's a lot of rigmarole, right? So, hemp oil, you need some sandpaper. I like 1200 grit. It is up to you, but the finer, the better. Now, at the moment, this has just got stained, so I've sanded it back completely, and then I've just stained it last night. I stained it like 8 o'clock last night. It feels a little bit rough, a little bit fairy. That is normal. So when your timber's raw, you're putting something like a stain on it, the timber fibers, they're sort of flat, and it feels really nice and smooth after sanding. But then you seal it, and those fibers stick up because they get excited because they're getting the moisture that they're wanting. But then your stain dries and they get left standing up, which is why your nice smooth timber now feels quite rough, quite furry. Your cloth is going to be grabbing on it. It's just not going to feel as nice as what it did. So we use 1200 grit. This is my favorite technique. It's the only one I use 99% of the time. Every single piece sees this particular technique that has timber. We take our oil. Now, this isn't an overly large. It's probably just shy of a meter. It's probably like 800, 900. This is a good size to do the whole thing in one go. If it is a larger piece, I tend to work in sections. But, perhaps if we open the bottle. Right. You don't need much. You can use a brush to spread it around, which I am actually going to use. Let me grab mine. Hang on. I don't know what my actual brush is, but this will do. Oh, coming over. Just a little chip brush is fine. This is another one. I don't know where it came from, but I've got it. It's got like a wonky handle. Anyway, spread it around. When you do that, sometimes it does start to soak in straight away. You'll have a bit of a line, but that will go away over time. It's always a risk when I do it, but it will go away, don't stress. Use your brush just to sort of spread it around a bit. You don't have to have it all perfectly covered. This timber is quite dry. It's going to be drinking this in. It's okay, Pickle. Don't forget your edges. I'm going to leave just a little bit at the end here so you can see the difference once we're done. You can already sort of see the depth that we're now getting from our timber. Right, that's cleaned here. Make sure, God, this brush is crap. It's putting bristles everywhere. We do actually have, I think they're 50ml chip brushes. They're on the website. They're like $5. That's what I normally use. Pickle, come on. But today, I don't know why I thought bringing him was a good idea. But today we're using this because I don't know what happened to my actual oil brush. Now you don't have to stress about getting this on your hands either. It's a really nice oil. It's quite good for your joints and that sort of thing too. It is hemp oil. It's pulled from the first press of hemp. I'm just going to take my sandpaper any direction you like, right? And because it's nice and fine, it's not going to scratch our surface. But all we're going to do now is sand it up and down. I like to go in little circles. That's just my preference. There's only a couple of minutes of sanding. Hemp oil is pulled, this particular hemp oil is pulled from the first press of hemp. It's as natural as it comes. It's not chemically extracted. It's absolutely beautiful for timber, whether it's raw timber or stained timber. You can use it over chalk paint as well if you want to seal your chalk paint with it. I've got a big green sideboard in my house. I sealed it 6 years ago. Yeah, it'd be like 6 years ago. I did it just after we moved in. I painted it with chalk paint, sealed it with hemp oil. The 2 scratches that are on it are because I was way too rough. One of them I pulled a door open when there was like pram sitting in front of it, gouged the door. But that's it. Considering we've got 3 kids and 2 dogs, and at the time we had a cat as well that loved touching it and rubbing up against it. There's no marks on it. It looks as good as I did it. So it is a really, really durable oil. It works by interacting with when it's exposed to the oxygen in the air, and then it starts the curing process and it hardens. It takes about 30 days to fully cure, but you can start lightly using your piece within 48 hours, 24, 48 hours. I always recommend giving it a minute to sort of do its thing. So I will do this today. I won't be back tomorrow. On Monday when I come back in, I'll check it. If it's feeling really dry and like it needs more oil, I'll do this again. That's quite rare. I've really only needed to do that a handful of times. Most pieces are pretty good with just 1 coat. But occasionally you'll get a piece that's just so dry and so old that it needs another one. And then when I come back on Monday, so if it's too dry, I'll do this again. If it's got oil still sitting on the surface, I do like to give it another buff, which I'll show you in a second, just rubbing over it. And I tend to do it anyway. It just makes sure that if there is any oil still sitting on that surface, that it is gone, and that it's soaked in. And that, because it leaves it like a sticky mess. So if you put too much on, you're going to end up with a sticky mess. So we obviously don't want to be leaving that. So I do like to give it a second buff. So once you finish sanding it, a couple of minutes, grab your cloth and then just wipe along it. Now if your cloth is grabbing anywhere, stop, come back, do a bit more of a sand. If you feel like it needs more oil straight away, put more oil on it straight away. But just be mindful that if you don't wipe it all off, if you do leave it on there and you don't give it that buff, it does dry into a really sticky, horrible mess, and it is extremely hard to remove. So just bear that in mind when you are oiling. Okay. So, just buff it for a moment. It feels really, really nice. Give it a good feel. And when you do this, have a feel of the bit that you've just done versus the original, and you will notice it's a very visible difference between the smoothness of the nicely finished section and then the original. And this, if you're selling your pieces, everyone's textural, right? Everybody likes to touch things, particularly when it comes to furniture. I go to a furniture store, I touch every single piece. And most people are like that. And if your piece feels rough and not so nice, it's your customers just like, well, it's not finished properly, or it doesn't give you that warm fuzzy feeling, whereas you feel this and you go, oh yes, I like that, right? for yourself. You don't want to walk past a piece every day and touch it and go, ooh, I don't like that feeling, right? We want that nice, soft, smooth, beautiful, silky finish. Smooth as a baby's bottom, I think is the phrase. And it just feels nice, all right? So let me bring you in a little bit closer so I can show you the not finished versus the finished. Oops, crashing. Hang on. Can't work out what button I'm pushing. Right, so there we are, all finished. So we've got a little bit of a shine. You can achieve shine with it, as I've done. The more you buff it and the more you use your sandpaper, the more of a shine you'll get. So that is the bit that I've just done. Sorry, Facebook. And then this is the bit that I haven't done. So you can see it just brings out the colours in the timber just that little bit more. See how you can see sort of the variations? Whereas this looks really quite flat. And same with the edges. See how you can see the variations in it? Whereas this is really flat as well. So that's our difference before and after. It does make a big difference, not only to the feel of it, but to the actual look of it as well. So I'll just put a little bit on this corner. Hang on, darling. I better go because I'm going to roll over your board otherwise. Ooh. Yep. Just a little bit. It's okay. Like so. Make sure you get your edges. Edges often feel quite rough as well because we do have to sand them so much. Particularly the edges, that like the ends of your timber, because it's a deeper grain there, we sand more. So they can often feel quite rough as well, or a lot rougher. So always make sure that you get those bits properly. It doesn't matter that I'm sanding a bit that I've already done either. Like so. Take our cloth and give it a good wipe. Remove all of that excess. Again, have a feel of it, make sure it feels good. And just like that, this table is done. So easy, right? So all up this table, despite the fact that there was a 6-month interlude, it's probably taken me maybe 2.5 hours total. I did strip the top. Normally I would just sand. I did strip the top because I wanted to try a new stripper. But 2.5, maybe 3 hours tops. If you're a beginner, maybe I would block in 4-hour gap for something like this. It's a fairly simple table, and I recommend anybody just beginning starts with a piece like this. Really simple, not a huge amount of area for coverage wise. The pie crust edging obviously is that little bit harder to do, just because it's not hard, it's finicky. But again, you could, I prefer to keep it timber, but you could absolutely paint that section if you're not comfortable sanding it. But even just sanding the top, this size top, and it had like a old school shellac finish on it. It comes off like nothing. It was really damaged, the top of this one. I could have absolutely, yes, it would take you longer, but you could definitely sand the top this size quite comfortably by hand. It would probably take you an hour. I stripped this. If I was just sanding this, it probably would have taken me 10 minutes, right? Stripping took me about half an hour. But something this size with the type of finish that was on it that's just flaking off, it wasn't holding on at all, it needed to come off. You could absolutely do this completely by hand, no tools, other than your paintbrush. Within 3 to 4 hours for most beginners. If you're a bit more experienced, definitely you could do it. You could turn this out within a day. Obviously, I had a big interlude, and I work, when I'm here, I normally only get, it depends how early we get here in the morning. We've got 4 to 5 hours. And I've got staff and 2 other businesses and paperwork and orders to pack and like 1,000 other things. So in that time, I normally only get about half an hour to actually do anything somewhat that makes me feel like I've been productive for the day. So you can definitely do projects like this in a weekend. You could do larger projects like a sideboard in a weekend. It'd be a lot more hours, and you'd be exhausted by the end of it, but you absolutely can. And I've got quite a few clients that do churn out. I've got one in particular that regularly churns out multiple sideboards in a weekend. You can do it, and her work is still top notch too. So if you are really keen and you do want to have a go at your next project, set yourself aside a few hours when you want. You can have big gaps between it as well. If you aren't physically able to, or time-wise you're very time poor, you can still do it over several months if you need to. You can sand it and just leave it, or you could, if you do want to keep your timber top, but you're not going to be able to refinish it straight away, which is ideal. You generally don't want to leave timber raw for too long. You can leave the sanding side of it for like the last step, right? And you can get all your painting done, because you can prime, you can clean, you can prime, let it sit for 6 months like I did, and then come in and do your paint whenever you're ready. And you can take as long as you like between coats of paint. You don't have to do them one after the other. I did 2 coats in a day yesterday, but you absolutely don't have to do that. If you can only do half of it in a day, that's fine too. So you don't have to be, and it's something that I get asked a lot, like, how long would this project take? I'm very time poor. I don't feel like I can get this done. I'm very time poor too. I've got 3 kids, 3 businesses, a husband, and a job on top of it all too, right? So very time poor as well, but you can definitely achieve small projects just whenever you like. When you're sitting down watching TV at night, sit it up on the coffee table and do some painting. I used to do that all the time. I had a baby that I could not put down at all. I used to wear him in a sling, and or sit him in the bouncer at my foot, and I'd sit there bouncing him while I'm painting because I needed to do something with my time. So you can definitely do projects that, like, it's always achievable. You've just got to set out a little bit of time, half an hour here, half an hour there, 10 minutes here, right? So it's little projects. Anyway, that's it for me. I think for today, that's enough talking. I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been really nice coming back and doing another live. We haven't done one for so long, but I've really enjoyed it. Let me wander you down quickly. Let's go have a look. I don't think I've sort of shown, oops, wrong button. I haven't really shown the studio. So we've got this beautiful black piece, and these bedsides are being picked up today. So these are with carob, one of the stain and glaze colours, and then they've got the satin top coat on top. This little cabinet is Protea. Yes, Protea in silk finish, which is a pink. And then the top, I thought it was sepia, but I can't find an open bottle of sepia, so I'm thinking maybe it's actually sable and that I've just watered it way, way down. I've got this piece to work on. This one's for sale as is, I think, for now. I've got these 2 little cabinets. I really love little cabinets, and I really, really like this one. How cute are these? So it's like a little, how cute. So I'm excited to do that one. I think that one might be one of my next ones. I've still got this big one. This one I'd never paint, but it's for sale. I finally dug this one out. We might finally paint it. I've still got my little green one. It's hiding away over here. I've got this tall little cabinet there. I've got 2 bedside tables. I broke the leg on one. Oopsies. Too much talking, yeah? So we've still got some of our vintage papers in store. I have chucked some of them online. We've still got chalk finish. It's all on clearance. I can still order it for you. I'm just choosing no longer to stock it. We've still got a whole heap of these. These are all on clearance on the website too. We've got more stock on the way, but we've got base and blocker. This is our top coats, stain and glaze. We've got waxes, our specialty top coats, sandpaper, all that sort of thing. We've got Mint by Michelle, which I need to do an order actually. I might do one this morning. Some of our paintbrushes. I'm still waiting for more hooks, so all this is still sitting here. But we've got our Two Fussy Blokes, Montmartre, all that sort of thing. Excuse me. These are our stain and glaze boards. Too much talking. This is our base and blocker. And then this is all silk finish. Oh my God. Now I'm dying. This board here, the plan is to paint all these colours up on there. Haven't got to it yet. Will eventually. In the meantime, we've still got like all of our sample boards up there. Some of our handles. These ones aren't on the website. I'm going to work on getting them up. But these ones all are. I've got some of our little... Oh, I need to order more of those. Some of our black ones. These ones are really, really popular. Every time I restock, we like sell out within a day or two. Got that one. Oh, we've got some like slightly more gold knobs as well, whereas these ones are a bit more of a brushed, aged look. Oh, sorry, pickle. I love little dangly knobs, so we've got a few different ones of these. These are all on the website, these ones. I love this one. Oh, hang on. I was holding it upside down. This one. And then I've got a whole heap of others as well that at the moment are only in store, but I will get them up online. These are all our Mint by Michelle decoupage papers, finally displayed how I want them to be. I still didn't have enough room, so all of these down here are all the spares because I'd run out of room. And then we've finally got all our stencils, and I'm loving the stencils in particular on the black because you can actually see them properly. So we've got Stencil Stash UK, which are all these ones. These are all 100% reusable. They're cut on mylar. They're absolutely beautiful. And then we've got Gemini Creative, who's an Australian brand. We've got a couple of the mint tissue papers left. And then we've got Posh Papers, who are Australian as well. So they're decoupage papers. Our wallpapers are looking a bit ragged, really. I need to get new ties. I've tried so many things. I've tried lacquer bands. What do you call this? Ribbon seems to work best. I tried hair ties. They just break. Doesn't matter what I do. Nothing's working for them, but I need to order that too. But yes, that's our studio. That's all this is moving. These are going out today, apparently. But that's our studio for now. I've got all this room. It's all mine, mostly. This is just boxes. Oh, my husband pulled these out. I forgot I had these. These are very cool. Hang on. I brought these like 6 years ago. Before COVID, I brought them. They were one of the first things I brought at auction. How cool is that? I've had them. They've been in the storage unit, and I completely forgot I still had them. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. They're just going to hang out here for a minute. This one is the matching piece to this one, and these two are the pieces of furniture I picked up the morning I broke my ankle. We just picked them up. I was walking towards the car. This is back in March this year, the day after my birthday. Picked them up for free. Walking back to the car, broke my ankle after loading them. So this one I've got big plans for. So I'm very excited. We're going to do that one soon, I think. It's Art Deco. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm very excited about that. And then, yeah, we've got these little, I need to do these bedsides. I broke the leg on this one, so I need to fix that. This one I'm thinking ombre. I don't know. I've got all these plans. Too many plans. Not enough time to do it. but we'll get there in the end. And I am meant to have, hang on, this is my staging wall over here behind me. This wall, hang on, where are we? This is meant to come across. I'm meant to have a bigger staging wall here too. That hasn't happened yet. These things happen. Right, I'm going. I have things to do. Have a lovely Saturday. I'm hoping we'll be able to do this a little bit more often. I'm hoping. I'm trying. But thank you for your patience with me the last few months. It's been exhausting. But here we are. I'm back. Trying to be back. Trying to get projects done. Right, I'm off. Thank you. Have an amazing Saturday. And I will see you next time.